welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a review of one of my favourite tier 8 premium tanks, the Lowe. So the Lowe can be found inside the German tech tree. It's been one of the tanks that's been in the game from the very start really, and it had a buff a couple of years ago now actually, which has made it basically a lot more competitive in the scene with the new tanks that World of Tanks has brought out. So we're going to jump straight in with the stats of the tank. So obviously the overview, you can see it's a super heavy tank blueprint developed by the Krupp company. Several designs varying in armament and configuration were drafted. No prototypes ever built. The vehicle did not undergo any trials. And obviously it shows how much it earns. So 10% bonus XP and a 65% silver bonus as well. So first take a look at the engine. You can see it's got 1000 horsepower, power to weight ratio of 11.11. So to be honest, this tank is quite sluggish. You'll notice it being quite sluggish, but when it gets to its speed it will, and doesn't really struggle to keep its speed. Forward speed 35 kilometers an hour. It's not too fast, not too slow either, compared to like some heavy tanks. But it is a slow tank, but it makes up for it in certain other ways. Top reverse speed 15 kilometers an hour, so again it's not very fast in reverse. Better than 10, it's better than 12. But you're not really going to be able to reverse yourself out of any dangerous situations really. Fire chance 20%, so it has got quite a high fire chance. So just make sure you're carrying some fire extinguishers and training it on your crew as well. Now probably the best thing about this tank is the gun. So you can see it's a 105mm gun. Base reload time is 12 seconds, aiming time 2.86 seconds, so it's not, reload time wise it doesn't have a very high DPM. Aiming time's quite long as well, so you might want to put a gun lane drive on there. Accuracy is very nice at 0.33 for a heavy tank. It does mean this tank can engage from long distances and can be used as a sniper in some situations as well. Accuracy on a moving tank, obviously 2.32, it's not great. Rotating turret, it's not great either. Dispersion values aren't very good on this thing. Max range 720 meters, you know, it doesn't really matter anyway. Max elevation 38 degrees, which is nice, and depression 10 degrees as well. Due to the fact that this tank has quite a nice mantlet and a very funny shaped turret, means that obviously with the 10 degrees of gun depression as well, you can use hills and stuff like that to your advantage. Tracks 24 degrees rotation speed. You can see the terrain resistances there. It's not too slow turning, but the terrain resistances aren't astonishing either, so just be aware of that really. View range 400 meters, which is quite high for a heavy tank. It's quite nice, so you can and will be able to spot things, especially if you're poking ridgelines and stuff like that. Rotation speed 23 degrees. Again, it's a heavy tank, you can't expect it to turn fast. Signal range doesn't really matter. Once you get past like tier 6, all radio is basically the same, so you wouldn't worry about that. And you can see your ammo type as well, and you can also see where they're located in the tank here. So obviously, due to it being a 105, as you can see here, the average damage is 320, with your APCR 320 as well, and then high explosive 420. Penetration is 234 on its standard rounds, and 294 on its APCR, and 60 on its high explosive. So again, like this tank, the gun is what really makes it, to be completely honest. It's just a very nice gun on a heavy tank. It could be used on a tank destroyer, to be completely honest with you. The gun's that nice, but it does allow for you to snipe at long distance, stuff like that. It has got fairly high alpha damage as well, so you can trade effectively using your armor and stuff like that and your hit points, which is quite high. Yeah, hit points 1650, so you've got nice big chunk of health to play around with as well. So if we take a quick look at the armour, so when you first look at this, you'll see that the armour obviously doesn't look too amazing. So the front of the hull is 150mm on the upper hull and the lower part of the lower plate. Obviously tanks the same tier may struggle to penetrate that. If you're angling effectively, obviously they might struggle to penetrate it. But normally things are just going to go straight through it really. But if you can use your gun depression, which I can't actually show you at the moment because of the new Hot Wheels garage, it won't actually let me look down further on the tank. obviously this front area has been buffed as well to 225mm, so people will try and shoot there thinking that obviously it's a flat surface, they'll be able to penetrate it. But tanks at tier 8 really are going to really struggle to penetrate that flat spot on the front. So again, if you look here, you can see that it's very, very well rounded. The front of the turret, again, you can see how well sloped it is. You can shoot just outside the mantlet on that flat kind of space. It's a very, very small target, but you can be penetrated from that. And the cupola is very, very small as well, so most of the time you're not really going to be able to penetrate that, especially if you hold down, you're not going to be able to see it. I wouldn't even bother trying to shoot this thing in the front, really. The mantlet, again, it is quite strong, but it does get penned like by tier 10 and tier 9 tank destroyers and stuff like that. They probably won't have a problem shooting you through the turret. But again, armour on this thing, what you really want to do is you want to side scrape. You can see obviously on the side where the turret kind of meets the hull, it's a bit more rounded, so just be cautious that when you are side scraping, that surface does become a bit flatter. But side scraping can be used very effectively in this tank. Obviously the tracks are very, very wide as well, but side scraping is definitely something that you can do in this vehicle. Obviously supplies that I run, you can carry a hell of a lot of ammo in it. So I carry 60 AP rounds, 15 APCR rounds, not that you ever really need them, but just in case you do come up them big Jagdpanzer 100s or stuff like that. HE shells as well, obviously I carry 5, but the penetration isn't amazing on them, so I probably prefer not to use them unless you see something like a Waffenträger or something really lightly armoured. Manual fire extinguisher just because I'm a bit cheap. Small repair kit and small first aid kit as well. Equipment, I don't actually have equipment near my tanks at the moment, but I would definitely use a large caliber tank gun rammer to get the reload time down as quickly as you can. Enhanced gun length drive just to basically improve the gun, and probably vents as well, to be honest, just to get the reload time and the aiming time and all that good stuff down as much as possible. But I think that's it really for the garage review of the tank. Obviously an overview, it is a very, very good tank, and I think it is quite a strong competitor when it comes to the tier 8 premium tanks as well. I can't remember the exact price of it. It is fairly pricey if I can remember correctly, but it's definitely worth it. Obviously another tank that's quite good as well is a T-34 for silver making, just because of its big alpha damage. Obviously the more damage you do, the more silver you can earn. But this tank, obviously I do really enjoy playing it now and again, and I feel like if you give it a chance and give it a try, you'll love it as much as the next person does. But yeah, this thing really, really, obviously we'll show you some gameplay soon, coming up in a minute, and I'll show you how well this tank can perform in battle. Hello everyone, so we're in our first game now in the tier 8 Lowe. As you can see, the matchup, we are bottom tier. Obviously the matchup is it's a tier 10 game, but I'm not going to play this tank really any differently. Obviously I'm not going to want to sit right at the front line, but I am still going to head up to the hill and hopefully use my gun depression to shoot across. See, as you can see now on hard ground, the tank isn't very slow, so the traverse speed's not ideal, but it is climbing up to that top speed limit of 35 km an hour fairly easily. Obviously on the enemy team, artillery wise, I know this tank can be hit by artillery, but realistically being a tier 8 tank in a tier 10 game, they're probably going to be aiming for things like the E4 and T95, E6 and the M60 over aiming at me. But there's a lot of positions on this map where artillery is just going to really struggle to hit any of you. Obviously the map is covered in buildings and there's a hell of a lot of cover on this map. So I'm just going to push up to the hill with the mainly the tier 10 tanks. A few of us coming up here now, obviously a T-34 just behind me as well. And if you gain the hill on this map, you're at a very, very strong position. A tank which they brought out, I can't remember when they actually brought out now, the Andre the Giant on the enemy team, the tier 10 heavy tank. It costs around 450,000 free XP to unlock it, but that thing frontally is very, very strong, and especially with the spaced armour on the front of the turret. When it's hull down, it's basically impossible to destroy unless you can hit the cupola. It's a very, very hard tank to tackle frontally. You probably will have to load APCR rounds if you want to take one of them on from the front. So as you can see now, back chat's up on the hill. I just want to push all the way up just to give as much support as I can to our T-54E1 up here. As perfect, there comes Andre the Giant. I'm going to push up to this side here and hopefully use the tank's gun depression. Nice shot there from the FE4005. Obviously he doesn't penetrate, so he doesn't do much damage. Managed to put one through his lower plate. And now we're just going to keep using this position, keep bouncing forward and back, trying to bait shots for him. Really, and see what we can do when it comes to trying to take this guy out. He is obviously aiming for me at the moment. And now here comes the OHO as well. I'm going to try and side scrape out on this guy. Put a nice shot there into his cupola as well. The OHO's starting to push around to this T54E1, so we really now need to start trying to apply some more pressure to this. This is Andre the Giant. Put another shot there into his cupola, damaging him. As you can see, artillery takes a nice big chunk of his health out now, and I'm hopefully going to see if I can get a nice clear shot on his cupola, and we take him out. So, as you can see, now we're just going to try and push this OHO. Our T54E1 is nearly been taken out, so we're just going to try and I'm going to try and put as much pressure on this OHO as I possibly can. Put a nice shot there into one of his little turrets in the front of his tank. Obviously, if you knew, if I had some of the skills and stuff like that on the tank, then we'd probably be in a much better position. But I am just going to push and face hug this tank, as he's going to struggle to penetrate my turret, and his gun depression isn't the greatest, obviously. He manages to pen us there, it looks like, through our cupola. Yep. So I'm just going to try and keep moving around. He pens us again, and then we get taken out by the artillery. Simple as that, you know. He's starting to have a really good game. 2,000 damage done, but unfortunately, you know, I wasn't in the best position. Not artillery managed to get a quick shot at me, which is unfortunate. But that was it for the first game, really. I don't think that's a very good representation of how it plays, but obviously I'm still going to keep it in the video just to show you that you can have good games, you can have bad games. But we'll wait for this game to be over, just give it a spectate, and then we'll see what we drew in at the end. See how he's performing. As you can see, just put a nice shot there into the E4. He's going to poke out. Hopefully manage to put another shot into him. Tracks him there, he takes a shot and he misses. And I'm guessing that this tank destroyer, the other E4, is going to come out. So you see the T34 here now is facing off against the STA1 as well. Something else that I really like as well is, well, the tanks had been made cross-platform now. Obviously, when I stopped playing this game for quite a while, just because I need a bit of a break from it. But it wasn't cross-platform at the time, but it just helps a lot with server numbers, etc., etc. And it's nice to see the skill and stuff with the other platform. So now, obviously you can see this game's basically in the bag, to be honest. We've still got a full health stage 2. Obviously the E4 as well, which is on fairly low health, and a T92 as well. One of their artillery gets taken out. The STA2 is probably running for his life. But I feel like this is it now. This is game over. Maybe this T92 can put a lucky shot into the STA2 if he can. Manages to take him out easy. And then I think this T34 is probably going to push the artillery. I managed to take him out, get some sweet revenge for us. As I say, I did think I was covered. I thought I was behind that kind of tower bit on the hill. Obviously I wasn't, I was just behind the lower part, which really resulted in my death. This guy's may get killed now. Nice, and that's it, game over. So, obviously for the first game, it wasn't a great game, but it should showcase how much silver you can earn in this tank, obviously with a premium account. So, as you can see, 88,000 credits, 3,600 XP as well. Only a Mastery Badge Cast 3, so it wasn't a great game. Obviously for 2,000 damage, I don't think you can really go wrong for 88,000 credits. Wasn't too bad at all. Obviously the other levers come down below us with a little bit less damage than we did. But overall it wasn't a too bad game, and hopefully next game we can get into one, which we'll go into now. Hopefully we can find a game that's, obviously we're top tier and we can put a little bit more damage in and we don't get taken out straight away. Okay, so the map is Nomon Han, I believe. Obviously it's Assault as well. This map is probably not ideal for this tank, obviously depending on how you want to play it. Obviously I prefer to play heavy tanks as they are intended to be played up front, brawling, kind of right up in the other tanks' faces. However, this map is quite big, large, there's not much cover, there's not much city area you can really fight in. Obviously as you can see, it's right on the other side of the map to where we're spawning in, so it's going to take a very long time for us to actually get down there. But as I said with the gun, yeah, the aiming time's quite long, but the penetration, the shell velocity as well is really nice. So it does mean that you can see as well. Matchmaking has not been kind to us. There's only 3 tier 8 tanks on their team, and obviously a hell of a lot of tier 10s on theirs. So we are going to try and play more of a sniping role in this game and see what we can do. So I'm just going to push up this west side of the map and see what we can do really, in terms of long range engagement and stuff like that. Obviously the E3 at long range, we are going to have a lot of trouble penetrating that, and the Chieftain as well. If you can't hit his lower plate, it's going to be really, really hard to penetrate frontally as well, especially if he's moving back and forth. But yeah, if you could leave a comment down below, let me know which tanks you'd like to see reviewed next. I'm thinking about bringing a daily series of that as well, or every couple of days, just releasing a video basically just showing some random battles that I have, some of the best gameplays that I have. My WN8 I believe is still at Unicum, but I can't really remember. So the T100 LT bounces off us. I tried to snap a quick shot in, wasn't really concentrating there, and unfortunately we missed that shot on him. But I'm going to try and push up to this hillside and hopefully put some shots down the Kampfpanzer 50T. T100 LT now is starting to fall back, and he's going to unfortunately be able to start hitting our FV4202 in the back. So this is quite a good position for us really. Managed to put a shot there into the back of the T100 LT, and we're just going to kind of use this position just to keep the high ground and hopefully be able to put pressure on these tanks as they're going around. Obviously you want to keep moving due to the artillery fire as well. So this position is quite a nice position for the Lowe, obviously somewhere up above. Not angling my armour at all up here, I'm just kind of staying hidden, or trying to. Obviously as soon as I fire it will become detected by the Kampfpanzer 50T. But don't really want to sit back, so I'm going to push up with the Andre the Giant and the FV4202. See the AMX-30B over there, going to aim in, obviously the aiming time being displayed there. I'm just put a nice shot there into the side of him, 320 alpha damage. So we are just going to make a nice big push now. Obviously you can see the Valor just up ahead, and stuff like that. So we are just going to try and put pressure down this side of the flank. As you can see, a lot of the tanks are pushing round, but due to it being assault, obviously we didn't have to worry about our base being captured. Our artillery has already been taken out, unfortunately, which obviously there's nothing I could have really done in that situation. I wasn't at that side of the map. But there you can see now there's a lot of tier 10 tanks that are starting to push, or not push, sorry, hold this position very aggressively. So I am going to try and push up this FV4202 to gain some high ground. I'm not sure if I have the power to get up here, which I don't think I do. Maybe if we go to the left a little bit, we might be able to angle and wiggle up here a little bit more. Yeah, so we're going to try and climb up this hill and hopefully put some shots not only into them guys, but obviously into the Chieftain and the Bone Shaker as well, which is one of the newer tanks they brought out. The TS5, very, very strong tank frontally, and a very, very dangerous 120mm gun on there as well. So as you can see there, I couldn't quite get the gun depression there to put a shot onto him, so I'm just going to try and push up this way a little bit more and hopefully be able to snap a few shots in over this rock, maybe, if I can get a little shot. I think it's going to be a right struggle. Obviously the guy behind him, if he was still spotted, I might have been able to put a shot into him there. I was kind of hoping that I'd be able to get a shot into the Chieftain there as well, which we might. He bounces off us there. I'm not too sure where he bounced off. Right off our gun mantlet. He misses us with his second shot. He's going to try and wait for him to peek again. Hopefully put a nice shot into his lower plate. Unfortunately we miss and hit his track. I'm going to try and bait another shot from him here. Obviously he's not firing at us anymore, so I'm going to try and push up to this position just a bit further up towards the bone shaker. The bone shaker misses. We bounce off his upper plate. Unfortunately we hit his upper plate. Yeah, frankly this thing I kind of compare to it as like a mini T95. So we managed to get a shot there and take him out. And then we're just going to keep trying to put pressure on this T123. Obviously frankly I'm going to have a very hard time penetrating him, but he just gets absolutely ruined and ammo racked there by the stage 2. Try and put a shot there into the side of his turret, but unfortunately we miss. And now you can see these tanks really are starting to become more aggressive this side, so I am just going to try and push back a little bit more, keep the hillside and put some shots into this guy. And we're starting to fall down the hill, which is not ideal. But we do manage there to put a shot into the confines of 50T. And I'm going to push up to this other rock side just so then we do have a little bit more cover. But yeah, this tank, I really enjoy playing it, even if you do get bad matchup games, as you can see, as we have been getting. It's not the end of the world really, as you can do damage from long range. See, we've blocked over 1,000 damage as well, which is quite nice for this tank. Starting to pull back. Managed to put a nice shot there through his tracking him and dealing damage at the same time. He gets taken out. This Conqueror as well, he's not fully upgraded, so I'm not really too worried about his gun. Obviously he will still out DPM us by quite a lot, but I'm just going to push forward and basically try and keep this Valor and stuff in place and not let them get to a more advantageous position on us. The Conqueror again is behind cover now, so and I'm really going to struggle trying to take on a tier 10 heavy tank by myself, but I'm going to hopefully wait for him to peek again and hopefully put a shot into his side. Unfortunately he bounced off us as well. Now the Conqueror is starting to push back as well, which is not good, so now thankfully the Conqueror gets taken out. Going to wait for the track to repair. I think us and some of the other heavy tanks, going to ask everyone else to attack with me. Put pressure on him. Obviously 3 tanks against 1, he hasn't really got a chance. We're still on full health, he's obviously only on half as well, so in that state we are at an advantageous position already. As you can see he's starting to retreat back a little bit towards his base. He puts a shot into us there, we put one into him for 340 damage. You see his reload and his gun is a lot better than ours. I'm going to try and get to a different position just to try and side scrape off here a little bit more. Put another one into his sides, and as you can see now the Chieftain has joined the battle as well. So between them two they've got a very high DPM, a lot of damage per minute really between them two. Put a nice shot there into the Chieftain, hopefully he hasn't got a repair kit left. We damage his ammo rack, which means he's going to be a lot weaker to us and a lot easier to take out, which I don't think he has as he's already reloaded. I am going to repair, I accidentally repaired the track instead of the engine, but that's my fault. Obviously put a shot there into the Valor as well. I'm really hoping that this medium tank is going to be able to help us, otherwise we're probably going to get taken out here. I'm trying to climb as fast as I can towards this hill. I managed to take him out. So now I'm just going to push towards the base. Obviously with my damaged engine I'm not going to be going anywhere very quickly at all, so I am going to need to push towards the base. It's going to take me the rest of the game to get back to the other side. As you can see we have our T69 fighting the Carnarvon over there as well, along with the Death Star. Carnarvon gets taken out and it's just the light tank now who's probably going to be heading back our way to defend the base. But as you can see we've had quite a nice game actually. 1,810 damage blocked, 3,000 damage dealt and 2,000 nearly spotted damage. So to be honest it's quite a cracking game considering we're bottom tier. We've done a lot of damage to tier 10 tanks, put a lot of pressure on them as well. So I think now this should be game over. We're just going to capture the base unless somehow this AMX 1390 managed to pull off and managed to kill every tank in here, which I highly doubt. obviously due to the fact we have 6 seconds left of the game. So yeah, I think that's quite a good showcase of how well this tank can perform, considering it was low to bottom tier. Obviously, when you are top tier, the tank can perform a lot. Sure, that was an ideal performance, really, considering we were against tier 10 tanks. So 135,000 silver made. As you can see, that was our mastery badge as well in the tank. And I think, to be honest, that game really shows how well this tank can perform. Came top of the team in a tier 10 game, dealt a lot of damage to people, as you can see here. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this short, not very in-depth review of the Lowe. Final point I'd like to make, I would highly recommend purchasing one if you can. See, we're nearly on our second mark now as well, but definitely pick one up if you can. And please comment down below what tank you would like to see next. Thanks for watching. It's been Joe, and I'm out.